Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about the different types of fire extinguishers. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about all the different types of fire extinguishers, all the different types of chemical agents that are used in fire extinguishers, how to properly maintain them, how to determine which type of extinguisher that you would use in a certain different type of fire, and the types of fires that you could encounter, and how to properly use a fire extinguisher with the PASS system. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so fire is the rapid oxidation process that produces varying degree of heat, light, and smoke. The fire tetrahedron is basically how fire works, and there's also the fire triangle, which is the simpler method, but the fire tetrahedron has four main elements, and these are heat, fuel, oxygen, and a chemical reaction. But the fire triangle also, but is a simpler version, but it is only the heat, fuel, and oxygen. But yes, but mainly they use the fire tetrahedron. Okay, so the different types of fire classifications. There are different types of fire classifications. These all include A, B, C, D, and K. Class A is ordinary combustibles, and these include, or such as wood, paper, cloth, and trash and plastics, but mainly anything that turns into ash after it burns. Class B is flammable liquids such as gasoline, petroleum oil, and paint. Also included in this category is flammable gases such as butane and propane. Class C is energized electrical equipment such as motors, transformers, and appliances and such, and basically anything with an electrical charge. And if you take away the energized electrical aspect of the fire, then it would be considered a Class A fire. But Class D is combustible metals such as potassium, sodium, aluminum, and magnesium. And mainly the Class D fires are, there's a lot in car fires because the different types of metals inside the car. Class K is cooking oil, grease, and greases such as animal fat and vegetable fats. Basically, this is for any type of kitchen fire over the stove and everything. But those are all the different types of classifications of fires. Okay, now the types of fire extinguishers. Okay, there are mainly three types of fire extinguishers. Mainly the pump extinguisher, which is like either a hand pump or a backpack pump. Like here's an example of a backpack pump right here. This is mainly used for wildland firefighting because it's easy to carry, easy to maneuver with it. It's not bulky or heavy, but it's basically you have to manually pump it to get the agent out. It's mainly used for wildfires, the backpack pump. And stored pressure extinguishers, it's pressurized gas and the agent inside the same cylinder. And most of the time it's air or nitrogen as the gas. And this is an example of the stored pressure because you can tell because the pressure gauge on here. The cartridge pressure extinguisher is pressurized gas and it's cartridge on the same side of the cylinder. Basically, here's an example of that, and it's basically right here is the little small pressure chamber cylinder that is pierced, and then once it's pierced, the gas goes into the cylinder and pressurizes the whole cylinder. But the most common type is a stored pressure extinguisher. Okay, so types of fire extinguisher agents. There are many different types of fire extinguisher agents. These include water/foam mix, water mist, carbon dioxide, clean agent, dry chemical, wet chemical, and dry powder. I'm going to go into more depth in these in a second, but first you have water and foam. Water is used for Class A fires. Foam is used for A and B fires. Water mist is used for AC. Carbon dioxide is used for B and C. Clean agent is used for B and C. Dry chemical is used for A, B, and C. Wet chemical is used for Class K, and dry powder is used for Class D. Okay, so water foam makes is they're both stored pressure extinguishers. Water is used for Class A fire, as I said. Foam is used for Class A and B fires. The water takes away the heat element, and foam separates oxygen from the fuel. Makes a foam layer over it so it can't reignite. The chrome to determine that it is water or foam is the chrome shelled cylinder with the label, and for the foam it's chrome and the different type of nozzle in this picture. Okay, next we have water mist. Water mist is a stored pressure extinguisher used for Class A and C fires. Takes away the heat element, the color, and the way you can determine that it's a water mist is by the white cylinder with light blue trim and the different type of nozzle here. And it can be used on energized electrical equipment because the particles of the molecules of water are a lot smaller than the water stream, so it can't be like electrically charged. Okay, next is carbon dioxide. It is used for Class BC fires. It takes away the oxygen and heat. The carbon dioxide smothers the oxygen, takes it out, and the coldness of the agent takes away the heat. And the main way that you can determine that it is a CO2 extinguisher is because of the nozzle here. It is a big cone, and it can't be electrically charged, and there's no pressure gauge on it. But the main reason to determine that it is a CO2 is the nozzle. Okay, clean agent is another stored pressure extinguisher used for Class B and C fires. It interrupts the chemical reaction, and you can determine by the different type of nozzle and the label, green label. But one of the main agents is like halon. That's a clean agent. Okay, next is the dry chemical. Stored pressure extinguisher. It's used for Class A, B, and C fires. It interrupts the chemical reaction, and the nozzle, you can tell by the simple hose and the pressure gauge to determine that it is a dry chemical. And these are the most common types of extinguishers. Okay, so next we have wet chemical. It's used for Class K fires. It is another stored pressure. It removes the heat and prevents reigniting with the barrier, so between the oxygen and fuel elements. So basically it makes another like filmy foam layer. And the nozzle and hose and the label help determine that it is a wet chemical extinguisher. And next is dry powder extinguisher. It is a stored pressure extinguisher used for Class D fires. Separate fuel from the oxygen, and you can tell by the hose and the label. And these are mainly used for car fires because you have to make sure that the agent doesn't react with the metal. Okay, and lastly we have the cartridge pressure extinguisher. It interrupts the chemical reaction from the fire tetrahedron, creating a barrier for the oxygen and fuel. Basically, as I said before, but basically it has here's this small cartridge here that has the gas. It's pierced, and then the gas goes into the cylinder, fully charging the whole device and making it ready to use at that time. Okay, and here's how a fire extinguisher works. This is an example of a stored pressure extinguisher, the most common, but there's many different things in here, but I'm going to go over them. The safety pin, you pull the safety pin, and then the handle and the trigger, you squeeze the handle and trigger, and then which opens up a washer and a little gap so that the agent can come out. But basically the stored pressure is here, the agent is here, and then once you pull the handle, it depressurizes it, making the agent come out the siphon tube, up past the washer, and then out the hose and out the nozzle. And the whole whole cylinder part it's the cylinder, and these are the basic how a fire extinguisher works. Okay. Maintenance of a fire extinguisher is once it's used even a little bit, like the little tube when you just barely squeeze it and something comes out, you have to put that extinguisher out of service immediately, because if the washer has agent in it, then it could block it, could clog it, and then making it inoperable to use. And when the fire actually occurs, then you try to use it and it won't work. So you have to put it out of service immediately. But visual inspection is every month, should be every month, because just to see if there's any dents, any bad things, any rust, anything that would make it inoperable. Then hydrostatic testing is every 5 years, mainly 5 years or 12 years in special occasions. Hydrostatic testing is where you pressurize the cylinder in water and fully pressurize it, and then determine if there's any cracks or holes or anything that would make it inoperable, basically. And for foam, dry chemical, carbon dioxide, and wet chemical require hydrostatic testing every 5 years. Hydrostatic testing for every 12 years is for dry chemicals stored pressure with a mild steel shell or a brass shell or aluminum shell. Dry chemical, cartridge, or cylinder extinguishers with mild steel shell. Dry powder, cartridge, or cylinder with a mild steel shell. So basically for 12 years, it depends on the shell of the cylinder, mainly for mild steel shells, but it's hydrostatic testing is mainly for 5 years. Okay, so fighting fires. There's a system that will help keep people safe when trying to put out a fire with a portable fire extinguisher. Just remember the 3 A's, which are activate, assist, and attempt. So activate the building alarm system by pulling a pull station or calling 911 or having someone else call 911 for you. Assist anyone, people who are in immediate danger, basically or those who are incapable of helping themselves without putting risk to yourself. And then after those first two things are done, then you can attempt to extinguish the fire. Only after those two, though, because you need to make sure that everyone's safe or you're safe, and that people know about the fire in case you can't put it out. And then so the professionals or firefighters know that there's a fire so they can do their job. Okay, and lastly, how to use a fire extinguisher. The PASS system is how to properly use a fire extinguisher. The steps they're very simple steps, but some people don't know. But it's pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep for the acronym of PASS. So you pull the pin out of the fire extinguisher, you aim the hose at the base of the fire, and how you aim it is basically you hold it by the handle and you hold the hose in your hand and you aim it at the base of the fire and squeeze the handle. So you squeeze the handle and trigger, and then you sweep the nozzle from side to side until the fire stops. So when you're holding it, you hold it by the handle and the nozzle, you squeeze and you sweep back and forth until the fire is fully out. And that is basically the way to put out a fire. And that is the end of the presentation. Are there any questions? If not, then here are my references. I mainly use this one website, fireextinguishertraining.com. It was a great site. It told me about everything about fire extinguishers, even though I know most about fire extinguishers. And then I used Jones' book for fire protection systems on portable fire extinguishers, and from pages 285 to 296, that chapter. And then here's the references for all my pictures that I use from Google, basically. But basically what I've told you about is how to properly use a fire extinguisher, how to determine what type of fire extinguisher to use for a certain fire, how to maintain it, and how to classify them as well. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and have a good day.